Hey everybody, welcome to Justin April Zephyr. I'm April, as you know. Sorry about the movement of the camera. I don't have my selfie stick with me. I am currently doing laundry. Steve and I have checked into the last RV park that we're staying in on our trip. And it's a really nice park. It's the best park that we've ever stayed in. I really, really like it. So I believe it's called Holiday Cove in Bradenton, Florida. It's out in Cortez Village. And like I said, it's the nicest one I've ever been in. We had quite the adventure while we were still down in Key Largo. We went on the glass bottom boat. I believe that was on Thursday. And everything did fine. I took my Dramamine before we took off, and it did me very well. I didn't get sick. Normally I have the world's worst case of motion sickness. I can get motion sickness just floating on a pool noodle in the pool. So I was doing pretty well with that. The next day we drove down to Big Pine Key, drove over the 7-mile bridge. It was really nice. The water was gorgeous. That's the thing about the Keys. I absolutely love the water. I just don't care much for what's on the islands. I'm sorry. I'm not that much of an island girl. But anyway, we went and did that, and then we came back, and then Saturday morning we decided to go on the snorkeling trip. It's a 6-mile boat trip out to the reef where the Christ of the Sea statue is, and we were really looking forward to seeing it. And stupid me, I didn't take any Dramamine. Oh, it was stupid. I was sick as a dog. I can't remember being quite that sick except for that time when we were in New Zealand about 12 or 15 years ago. I was sick as a dog. We did fine going out there because the boat was moving, but then we got out there and the boat was stationary except for the rocking of the waves. The waves were killer, and even Steve says that they were pretty bad. But we got out there, the boat tied up and anchored, and I immediately got very, very sick. I was violently sick. I was barfing over the edge of the boat. Everybody else was getting off the boat, so hardly anybody knew that I was sick, thank you, Lord. But anyway, I could not stop throwing up. And finally, the first mate, she was also the dive captain, she came over and was checking on me and said, well, you know, she might do better if she gets in the water. So Steve had to put my diving vest and my fins on me and everything else, and had me get down the ladder into the water. And I couldn't put that stuff on myself. I was just too violently sick. And I got most of the way down the ladder and my foot slipped and I ended up falling the rest of the way. Yeah, I'm such a klutz. I take after Granddaddy that way. But I got into the water and I immediately put my face under the water and started to snorkel. And what I saw was really pretty. And then after a minute or so, Steve was able to join me. And we snorkeled together for a little while, and I was able to see some really gorgeous blue and yellow fish. The fish down there are perfect. I didn't get over to see the Christ of the Sea statue because I had to go up and clear my air, and when I got up to clear my air, the waves were tossing me, and yep, that's right, I started barfing again. I tore the mouthpiece off of me, and I couldn't stop. I was just so sick, my body quit working. If it hadn't been for Steve noticing that I was in trouble, I have no doubt in my mind I would have drowned it. He realized I was in trouble. I was saying over and over again, I can't do this, I can't do this. And he realized it. He pretty much realized it pretty quick. he grabbed hold of my t-shirt and started dragging me back for the boat. He was in the water videoing for a total of 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Yeah, he didn't get to do much. Neither did I. We finally got me back to the boat. Steve had to take my flippers off so that I could climb up the ladder. It took time to get up the ladder. I was pretty sick. Got me back up, and I managed to stop throwing up, and they sat me down on one of the benches, and I'm just dying. I was just so sick. Steve is sitting with me, and he's got his hands on my shoulders and talking to me, trying to give me water. The first mate got me some ice chips in a cup, and that was okay. It helped a little. And by the time I finished up, it had been almost an hour, and people were starting to get back on the boat. So when the time came and everybody was back on the boat, we were supposed to head back, the captain started asking what everybody saw. And while everybody's answering back, oh, I saw a blue fish, oh, I saw a yellow fish, oh, I saw a manta ray, and all this sort of stuff, I'm sitting there saying to myself, I gotta go home. I gotta go home. I can't do this anymore. I gotta go home. Steve's hands tightened up on my shoulders to shut me up. Because, I mean, I was gone. I was out of it. I had no clue really what I was doing anymore. So this one kid, we had sat in his spot that he had been sitting in when we rode out there. And he got on board and he sat in the middle thing across from us, and he says, ma'am, are you okay? And I just kind of shook my head and said no. And my husband, he says, no, she's pretty sick. And the boy was very sweet. He couldn't have been more than 15 or 16. He was just as sweet as he could and cute as he could be. But anyway, we finally got back in, and I took it easy for the rest of the day. And then Sunday morning, we got up, and Steve went and he did the snorkeling thing again, and I stayed home in the RV. And I got the RV cleaned up and put everything away for our trip back to Bradenton. And he came back and he said, oh, you know the first mate that was on the boat that I was on today? I said, yeah. He says, well, I was talking to him, told him that I didn't get to do much yesterday with the snorkeling because you were so sick. And the guy says, oh, you know the girl who was on board your boat as first mate? And Steve said, yeah. He says, that was Amanda. That was my wife. She told me all about your wife. She said that your wife was very thankful and just kept apologizing over and over again for what was happening, and that my wife thought she was very sweet. And Steve thanked him, and they had a good laugh about how sick I was. At least I wasn't passed out on the floor like the people in his last boating trip. But I took it easy on Saturday, got the RV cleaned up and packed, and yeah, I had everything ready by the time Steve came back from his snorkeling trip, and he got to do everything he wanted to do. And so as soon as he got back, I sent him over to get a shower, and then after he was done, he came back, got everything undone with the RV, and we headed back toward Bradenton. We got to the mainland and stopped off and got something to eat, and we hadn't had McDonald's in about 2 weeks, so we had McDonald's, and so it was good. We hadn't had it in quite a while. And after that, we decided to go the long way home and went up by Okeechobee and then went through Arcadia and took 70 back into Bradenton. It's really grown up out there. I could not believe the size of Panther Ridge, the place that they've built between Mayaca City and Lakewood Ranch. It's just humongous, and I hear it stretches all the way to Sarasota to the south. But we got back and we checked into our place here, and my sister and her husband came over with pizza, and we had dinner together. And then we drove them back to their place and came back to the RV and didn't do much. We just were pretty worn out, and after about an hour, we just went to bed. I was just exhausted. So anyway, right now I'm doing laundry, and I will check in with you later, because later we'll be going over to our friends Dwayne and Nancy's. And just a side note, Lisa and Jean, if you see this, I'm really sorry about the loss of Clint. It's a hard thing to lose a child, especially when it's your only child. I am so very, very sorry for your loss, and I love you both. I will talk to you another time. As for now, I'll check in later. Bye, y'all.